Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're doing a rainy day shave and we're talking about mental health. So if that's not a topic you're comfortable with, feel free to click out, no hard feelings. Otherwise, stay tuned because That's right, I am Dave Shaves, and today we are doing a rainy day shave. And as such, I felt it appropriate to do a bit of a mental health check-in since it's been a little while since I have. I'm in a good place, so I thought now's a good time to do some discussing. I got a couple pet peeves that I'd like to share, and we'll go ahead and get into that a little bit later. But first, let's go ahead and talk about the products we are using today. As I did mention, it is a bit of a rainy day, or at least it was earlier. It's cleared up. There was a little bit of rain earlier. It wasn't looking so good, but it cleared up quickly because that's Tennessee. But in light of that, what we're going to be doing is shaving with, we're going to start with this since this is directly related. The soap we're using today is After the Rain from Declaration Grooming. Thought that was apropos, as it were. And we're going to be using my Muhle R41. I have quite a few days worth of growth going on here and I could really use the shave. So we're going to go ahead and use a rather aggressive razor, but we are going to pair it with a relatively relatively unaggressive blade. Mild. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Mild. A relatively mild blade. And that's a Derby Extra. So we're going to go ahead and pop that in real quick, and then we'll talk about the aftershaves and the brush we're using, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and just take my Derby Extra. We're going to pop that right here on the base plate, or the top plate, or whatnot. You know what I'm talking about. Don't stop it. Just okay. And we're going to put the face plate right on top of that. And then we're going to go ahead and screw on the handle. Pardon me, my allergies are going nuts because of the rain earlier, so I apologize. All right, got that all lined up nicely. Good there. The brush we're going to be using today is my Perfecto Badger Hair. And because these two things make me kind of feel after rain a little bit, I'm using some Duke Cannon Ice Cold Aftershave Balm. To me it fits. And then after that we're going to be splashing on some Aqua Velva, which again, this is just, it makes me think of after the rain. I don't know why, it's just my opinion. So that's what we're going to be using today. And let's just go ahead and get this party started. So right off the bat, what we want to do is get a little bit of water here with this soap, just a tiny bit. And then we want to take my brush, which has been soaking for a little while now, and we're going to go ahead and just start lathering up. And as I did mention, I did want to talk about mental health today, and it's nothing serious. Just want to do a bit of a check-in, and it's more for you guys. I'm in a good place right now. I'm in actually a pretty good place, and I just have a couple pet peeves that I really feel comfortable talking with now that I am in a bit of a good place. And we'll get into that once the shave starts. Right now, let's just go ahead and get this lather started, and we'll go from there. But in the interim, why don't you tell me below, how are you guys doing? I know some of you fight with depression and anxiety just like I do. So if you don't mind, if you feel so inclined and you feel comfortable, please put it in the comments below. Let me know how you're doing. I would really appreciate that. I love hearing how everybody's doing. Ups, downs, whatever. If there's anything you want to discuss that you feel comfortable putting in there, feel free. If you don't feel comfortable putting in there, but you do want to talk, please feel free to reach out to me via email, dave@thedaveshaves.com, or you can reach out to me on any of my social medias, privately message me there at @thedaveshaves. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those have a messenger attached to it, and you can reach me at The Dave Shaves. So please, if you need to talk, feel free. Otherwise, if you feel so inclined, put it in the comments below how you're doing. Love to hear from you. Also, if you'd be so inclined, if you're watching this video and you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon for notifications. And again, if you feel so inclined, feel free to hit me up on Patreon and give me some love and support there. But otherwise, we do have some good lather building up here nicely, and I'm very excited about that. You can really see it. So this is lathering up really nicely. I'm not sure if I've used this soap on camera before. I know I have used it, but I don't know if I've used it on camera. And I thought today was, as I mentioned, a good day, or as I put it, apropos. So let's just go ahead and splash some water on my face. We'll get lathering and we'll get to talking. Got some water splashed on my face. It's well hydrated because I got out of the shower recently too. So we can go ahead and start lathering up. Okay. As I did mention, I am doing well, so this isn't anything that I need to talk about because I'm not doing well or because I'm having any flare-ups, nothing like that. It's a good day, good few days. Just something that's been on my mind recently because I see it on social media a lot, and it's a pet peeve that people tell you you can't complain and you can't feel depressed because your life looks good. You have a great life, so therefore there's nothing to complain about. That drives me nuts for numerous reasons. Not the least of which is the fact that you never ever know what a person is going through. You just don't. You don't know what a person's going through. You don't know a person's life. Even if you spend every day with a person, even if you are a person's best friend, you don't always know what they're going through. And I say that knowing full well because I hide stuff from my friends on occasion. When I go through my bouts of depression and anxiety, I hide stuff from the people closest to me. So you don't know. So when a person expresses unhappiness, or when a person complains about something, it's not that they don't know that there's people that are far worse than they are. Of course they know. I would never take away from anybody else by thinking that there are people out there that don't have it worse than me. Of course they do. But that doesn't mean you don't have the right to feel your feelings. And it doesn't mean you don't have the right to complain from time to time. Because you do. Of course you do. And I will give you some examples in just a bit. And don't feel bad about complaining. Don't let anybody let you feel bad about not feeling 100%, about feeling down. Because you're allowed to feel whatever you're feeling. That's important. Not the least of which is the fact that what people don't always understand is depression and anxiety. It's not always topical. It's not always because something is going on in your life. Sometimes it just happens. It's psychological and it's physical as well. These are actual illnesses. Depression, anxiety, they're actual illnesses. And it's not just because someone had a bad day. It's not because someone's just in a bad mood. It's a chemical imbalance in your brain. And that's a proven fact. So don't ever let anybody tell you you can't feel. And especially if you are feeling depressed, you are not alone. Everybody goes through it. And there are millions of people in this world who suffer from clinical depression and anxiety disorders. And it's not because you're sad, and it's not because you feel nervous. It goes way beyond that. And sometimes you just need help. Mine dates back to childhood, and this is the example I wanted to give. People look at my life from when I was a kid. And they think, such happy times. He had such a great life. And they tell me that. They say, I remember when you were a kid, they were such wonderful times. Oh, I'm so happy, such happy memories. Sadly, I don't remember it that way for a lot of my childhood. From the outside, yeah, it looked great because I had awesome parents. Got a little bit of a nick down here. I had awesome parents, and they tried as hard as they could to give me a happy life, and they showered me with love and support and everything else. And I am beyond thankful for everything they gave me. And yes, I don't often complain about my childhood because I did. I had great parents. My parents did. They showered me with love and support every chance they got. But what people don't know is the reason why. What people don't know is what they didn't see. And that is the fact that my parents' marriage was not a happy one. No kid, when you're young and little, wants their parents to split up. So they always hope that their parents will stay together. And it took me a long time to realize that my parents' marriage was not a good one. My parents' marriage was, in a lot of ways, toxic. Need a little bit more lather. I think my face was a little too wet this time. It was a little toxic, and it was negative, and it was not happy. They fought constantly. When I say fight, I don't mean they had petty arguments, they bickered. No, they had all out screaming matches at the tops of their lungs for years. It was so bad that I had to hide in my closet and cry because I was scared. And I hid there for hours, sometimes whole days on end. And my parents knew that. But they stayed together, and I have to feel like they stayed together for me. And I'm glad to an extent, because we had some good times, don't get me wrong. We had good times, but people think my parents' marriage got bad as the years progressed. It's not that it got bad. It's that it was always bad. They just stopped hiding it. And beyond that, my mom's parents, when I was very little, about 4 or 5 years old, they told my parents in front of me that I was useless. I was worthless, I was useless, I would never amount to anything. They were not good people. And still I adored them because they were my grandparents. On the flip side, my dad's parents were amazing to me, but my dad's mother had a very rocky relationship with my mother. And they hid it well in public. But there were a lot of fights, there was a lot of screaming matches, there were name calling. They didn't have a happy, healthy relationship, my mom and my dad's mother. And don't get me wrong, I'm not placing blame because I love both those women with all of my heart, and I miss them both tremendously. My grandmother on my dad's side was phenomenal. Spent days with me, weekends, weeks. They were both, my grandmother and my grandfather, they took me a lot of places when I was little, and they were always there for me, and they also never let me feel unloved. But there were reasons. The relationships that I saw between the adults were not healthy. By the way, that shave was amazing. Great smell. I love the scent of that. It really does smell like after rain. Oh, it's amazing. And it's slick, and it just, the shave just was phenomenal. But anyway, I digress. Back to the topic at hand. It wasn't all happy times, and there was arguing, there was fighting, and there was name calling, and it was rough. And then when I was 13 years old, most of you know, at 13 I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. That is a form of cancer. Very treatable form of cancer, but mine almost wasn't. And I almost didn't make it. I had a lot of close calls. And it was not a good time. And then when I was 14 years old, I started smoking. And when I was 15 years old, I turned to drugs. Heavy drugs. Pretty heavily. Very heavily, if I'm being honest. But it was hid. It was hid from the outside world, so people didn't see it. And now I suffer from anxiety and depression. And that's the thing. You look at me, and people look at me, and they look at my life, and they don't see it. They see this happy kid because I was a happy child. Or at least that's the way it appeared. So that goes back to my original point. Don't ever think you know what's going on in someone's head. Because you don't. You don't know what's going on in someone's head. And don't ever feel like you can't complain because people have it worse. Because yeah, people had it worse than me. Of course they did. But I had it rough too. I'm not comparing what I went through to other people. It's only me. It's my experiences. I was not always happy. But overall, I had a good life, and I don't complain about that. But I do have my issues because of it. My life wasn't all roses, and other people's isn't either. That's what I want to try to get through to all of you. You are not alone. That's my story. So people may look at you and think that you have it all together. But you don't have to. And if you don't have it all together, that's okay. And you don't have to pretend to. And if you don't want to put out in public, you don't have to. But if you want to tell someone your story, I will always listen. I'm always here. Again, you can reach out to me via email at dave@thedaveshaves.com or on any of my social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at The Dave Shaves. That being said, I appreciate you all watching. I hope this got through to you. I hope this shave was enjoyable to you. It was a fantastic shave. Put me in a really good mood. I was in a good mood anyway, but it really put me in a fantastic mood. And then I followed it up with some Duke Cannon ice cold balm. Oh, wonderful. And then splashed on some Aqua Velva. Definitely worth it. I would definitely check that out. And feel free to, if you want to know how to take care of your gear after a shave, check out my video on that. And if you want to look at other mental health check-ins, there are other ones listed as such, or just watch some of my earlier videos and you'll hear me discuss it. But if you're watching this video and you have not yet, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon for notifications. If you feel so inclined, hit me up on social media at The Dave Shaves. Hit me up on Patreon and give me some love and support there. Again, at The Dave Shaves. But otherwise, if you like this video, and please feel free to hit that like button, give me a comment below. That said, of course, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and keep shaving. I'll see you on the next video.